The Electoral Commission of Ghana plans to do in respect of the Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary election results collation. Our guest is a key EC official. Stay with us on Ghana Tonight. That's the only constituency not represented in this 9th parliament. Also, the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, discontinues some high-profile cases, effectively acquitting and discharging the accused persons in those cases. We take a closer look at these cases in question and really how that impacts on the judiciary as a whole. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is GhanaTonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana.
The government has withdrawn its interest in several high-profile criminal cases. This includes a case against Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atofo-Singh and businessman Richard Jakpa, as well as charges against former Second Deputy Governor Johnson Isiama related to the collapse of UT Bank and Unibank. Additionally, the Attorney General's office has dropped charges against former NDC chairperson Samuel Fusampofu and former Cocoa Board CEO Stephen Opuni. The Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sribo Kweku, is urging political parties to wait for the presiding officer for Ablekuma North to officially declare the winner of the parliamentary election. So far, results from 3 outstanding polling stations remain unverified, as the Electoral Commission has verified results from 278 out of 281 polling stations.
One of them, the presiding officer says he has the results. He sent it to the return officer, but he's not ready to come to the collation center because of the fear for his life, because he was saying he was attacked. It's a female. Then the second one was that the gentleman came. He said that he validates the results for the candidates. He doesn't validate the rejected ballot. Me personally, we are interested in the result for the candidates. So if he's validating the results for the candidates, that he said that they were correct, I think that's a good number. But still, is the decision of the return officer who should do. Then the third one was saying that he can neither validate nor reject. So that one to maybe either he has to come again to explain his stand, or the commission will have to take a decision on that.
Social activist Oliver Bakavomawo has apologized to members of the Appointment Committee of Parliament over social media posts suggesting some individuals were paying bribes to secure ministerial approvals. The convener of the Fix the Country movement, through his lead counsel, Nana Atodazi, explained that his comments were not directed at the Parliament Appointment Committee.
Circumstances, I would think that a person who comes forward to say that the Honorable Appointments Committee, their honorable job is being affected by some other person, third parties, it should be commended. Under the Whistleblowers Act, he probably will need some compensation, for services rendered.
A decision by officials of West Africa Examination Council (WAEC) to compel students whose WASSCE results have been withheld to write a report was fiercely resisted by their parents, creating a chaotic scene at the Kumasi office of the council.
Most of these kids are minors. And how can you tell me that I should bring my word to you, and without my guidance or maybe a legal counsel present, my word should implicate himself? In whatever way, we don't know. He could implicate someone who might be innocent. We don't know this. But you say they should write a report. Then you will base on that to determine the outcome of their exam results. Why you didn't even catch them in the exam or doing any more practice?
We were ambushed and we needed clarification. We told them, clarify us. What exactly do you want from us or from our works? That's where we are.
You call a parent far from Yendi side, only to come of no resource. Is that right? The reports will not give you what they want, because definitely the children will not tell you that the truth.
The West Africa Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, has begun preparations to shut down from next Wednesday, February 5, for its planned 4 weeks maintenance exercise. Speaking after a media tour of the WAPCO regulating and metering station in Takoradi, the Western Area Head of Operations and Maintenance, Engineer Benoni Owusu Aye, explained that the 5-yearly maintenance is a regulatory requirement.
In all, we have about 6 peaks to launch from Nigeria. Once you launch a peak in Nigeria, you receive it in Takoradi. You can't receive it in Lome, you can't receive it in Cotonou or Tema because of the pipe size. So it's a 20-inch line, 569 kilometers. It gets to Takoradi, then the pig is retrieved. Then another pig is launched. It takes about 4 to 5 days. We can optimize it by increasing the speed of that pig. That is, you bring in more volume. The reason why we have to do it every 5 yearly is by regulatory and also by the standard, international standard.
President John Mahama has pledged to expand access to reliable, affordable and sustainable electricity across the continent. The president joined 30 other African heads of state at the Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit in Tanzania. Speaking to the media shortly after arriving from Tanzania, together with the president, acting government spokesperson Phyllis Kwachofusu says the NDC administration is focused on alleviating the energy plight of many Ghanaians in rural areas.
The objective of the summit was to discuss ways of extending access to energy to underserved areas within Africa. And so the heads of states met following an earlier meeting by ministers of energy of various African countries. Each head of state took turn to elaborate briefly on what the commitments to this objective were and what they had done in order to ensure its realization. President Mahama recounted Ghana's experiences and shared the strategies that he in particular adopted to get us out of the perennial energy problems that we've had, and took the opportunity to advise against some missteps or mistakes that have been made in the past.
Well, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, the Appointments Committee of Parliament put on hold vetting to deal with allegations of bribery and corruption against the committee. We've got some highlights of what exactly transpired earlier today on this matter, and some reactions coming through shortly here on Ghana Tonight. Social activist Oliver Bakavomao has apologized to members of the Appointments Committee of Parliament over a social media post suggesting some individuals were paying bribes to secure ministerial approvals. Now, the convener of the Fix the Country movement, also a private legal practitioner through his lead counsel, Nanato Dadze, explained that his comments were not directed at the Parliament's Appointments Committee directly. Take a look.
This is words in the book. Please, are you going to render apology? We are not interested in what Manasseh has said in the past. Please.
Mr. Chairman, I crave your indulgence for context and clarity. I crave your indulgence for context and clarity as to why my post. In the book, Mr. Manasseh said, Muntaka never mentioned that the only cash that came to the appointment...
Mr. Oliver Baka Vomawa, Are you going to do justification, or you want to render an apology and we close this meeting?
Mr. Chair, I have no intention to lecture the committee. If the committee resolves that the context of the post is irrelevant to the commission, the question here, I'm happy to proceed as the committee has directed. Now,
proceed as the committee has directed.
Mr. Chair, I am saying here clearly that my post was not intended to disparage members of the committee, and I have not intended to say that members of this committee have received or demanded bribes from various individuals. At no point was my statement intended to communicate same, and for those reasons, I apologize. Mr. Chair, the reason why I have left the post on and not deleted it, in fact I did contemplate it, was because I saw that the words had been twisted, and that it became imperative on me that I maintain the post in its original form. That if I was questioned on it, reference can be made to be able to verify it. This is the reason why it wasn't deleted.
Also, that's Oliver Bakavoma there explained a number of things, and in fact, although eventually apologized, the members of the appointments committee were looking for an unqualified apology. Well, with what you saw, that certainly did not happen. He had a reason to explain a number of things, and also the context within which he made that post that led to all of this and his invitation before the Appointments Committee of Parliament. After this hearing, a number of you have been reacting to this to the extent that this should have taken a different form, and that Parliament, if so minded, should probably be considering an investigation into some of these things instead of just inviting the person who makes the allegation before a committee, is grilled, so-called, and then the matter ends there. In previous instances of allegations of bribery against the Appointments Committee, it was made by members of Parliament, MPs themselves, when the people who earlier alleged in time past that the Appointments Committee had allegedly been bribed. This time around, it came from someone outside of Parliament. Now, let's have a bigger conversation on this matter, right? Dr. Rashid Rahman, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, is joining us right now. Rashid Rahman, you watched it keenly, just like how many of us did, and how things transpired earlier today. How did it strike you? Let's start off from there.
Maybe, Alfred, let me just take a step back and say that today, if you look at, data after data, democracy that we practice, the whole project is faced with very, very severe headwinds. I mean, a lot of trust deficit, and those at the center of this, that is a trust deficit, I think are members of Parliament. Because if you look at the, data on how much citizens of the continent trust our institutions of democracy, particularly the three arms of government, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature, I think Parliament trails these two arms of government. And if Parliament is, if you like, the fulcrum of our democracy, and there's this trust deficit, the last thing that Parliament wants, any Parliament wants, is to be embroiled in a kind of situation where this trust is further eroded. If you look at the recent Afrobarometer data, our members of Parliament are not trusted, and whenever there are talks about corruption, they fare worse than, the other institutions, other arms of government that I've mentioned. So to have a situation like this, which is not the first time that this committee, not this one in the 9th Parliament, but I mean, previous appointments committees have been accused of, underhand dealings, whether real or not. I would have thought that, Parliament and the members of the committee will be very, very interested in cleaning their names and cleaning the name of the institution. Even if an apology is rendered, as was done by the person involved with his legal counsel, I would have thought that because of this trust deficit that I made reference to, Parliament would be really interested in saying, look, we have to get to the bottom of this and stop this in its tracks so that future committees, either the appointments committee or any other committee, is not, carrying this cloud on his head.
So for you, instead of what we saw earlier today, Oliver Kavomawo being invited before the committee, questions asked, some say he's been grilled by the members of the committee and he is made to apologize, discharged. The matter has ended as we speak. That's it. You would have rather expected that beyond this, Parliament should be minded to institute investigations to, as it were, either confirm or deny whether what he's saying is true or not, instead of just the members of the committee dismissing this matter because he came before them and apologized, and taking into consideration the fact that there's been several instances in the past of allegations of bribery against the appointments committee.
Yes, the whole world is watching this committee. It's not only us in Ghana. And as most people have said, investor confidence, there are all kinds of issues about our image as a country. And if our elected representatives are accused publicly, in such a manner, I think there is a need for them to give an opportunity for the public to believe that really nothing of this nature happened. And then for the individual also to prove that really maybe what he said or what he heard was right or not right. And this should be done by, instituting some kind of thorough investigation. And I'm really concerned because, like I said, this is not the first time. In the 7th Parliament, we heard what happened under that appointments committee in that legislature. In the 8th Parliament, we saw how the base of the NDC was on fire after some nominees of His Excellency the President were approved. Cumulatively, this is not doing very much good to the image of this committee and the institution. And as an institution that I respect so much, I think there's a need to get to the bottom of this. If there is anything that is not right, I know the Right Honourable Speaker, like he said yesterday, I believe on the floor of Parliament, respect is earned. You earn the respect of the public by your conduct. And this is one instance where Ghanaians were waiting.
I see. But then if Parliament, Rashid Rahman, quickly before I let you go, if Parliament is so much minded to even investigate this matter or go by the recommendation that you have made that many others really see reason in, who should do that investigation, or which institution should do that investigation? It certainly cannot be Parliament investigating itself or Parliament dismissing such allegations by themselves, is it not?
Well, I think that's a very important question. First of all, like I said at the beginning of this, when this controversy erupted, I was saying that, look, it's not up to this committee to summon this person to investigate an issue that concerns the committee, rather maybe the Privileges Committee. But as we know, Parliament is in the process of being set up. Committees have not been properly constituted yet. And like the Right Honourable Speaker said, in the case of Madam Hardcastle and Minority Chief Whip, Honourable Anadompre, he was going to single-handedly champion whatever investigation needs to take place because there is no Privileges Committee in place. But you see, Alfred, over the years, some of us have said that maybe perhaps we might be at a point where Parliament might have to think about maybe putting together maybe some eminent Ghanaians who would look at matters such as this one when it borders on the integrity and conduct of members, so that when we have the outcome of any investigation or work done by such a group, at least Parliament would have Ghanaians, would have the whole citizenry carried along. There are some countries where, Alfred, parliamentary committees, important ones, i.e., public accounts that deals with the public money and the resources of the nation. Those committees are constituted by MPs and non-MPs. I have seen one, in the case of the Public Accounts Committee of Denmark, and the argument is that this is such an important issue that you don't just leave it to one group alone. We don't have that kind of provision in our standing orders or in our constitution. But perhaps going forward, it might be something that Parliament should start thinking of. At the moment, if an investigation has to be undertaken, perhaps it might end up with the Privileges Committee. But we have seen the work of Privileges Committees of previous parliaments. And I believe there are a number of issues that went to those committees, and that was the last time we heard about some of those issues. So really, it's about time Parliament started thinking about how some of these matters could be handled.
Right. And I do appreciate your time on this matter. And in fact, as we're having this conversation, Dr. Rashid Rahman, the number of people who are commenting on our various social media handles seem to agree with you. Public opinion is on your side and the side of many who are of the view that beyond just Parliament, dealing with it by themselves and inviting the persons who make such allegations, in this case, someone who is outside of Parliament, and in the previous cases, members of Parliament who make such allegations of bribery, they should go beyond that, institute investigations, and establish beyond reasonable doubt whether or not such allegations of bribery against Appointments Committee has any legs of truth or otherwise. And we'll see how the conversation evolves. But this is Ghana Tonight. After this session earlier today, Oliver Bakavomo appearing before the Appointments Committee, the Member of Parliament for the Tamale Central constituency also had a few words to share. Murtala Mohammed, he is due to be vetted tomorrow. We'll tell you about it. But he also shared his views with my colleague, George Quenning, earlier today.
We hear a lot of rumor. Nobody has asked me to bring in any money. I haven't even made an attempt to give a dime to anybody. So when I heard it, I was taken aback and I was wondering what is happening. Is it that some of our colleagues have done that? And all our colleagues I've spoken to, they all said, look, they haven't given any money.
But don't you think it's just a wake-up call for Parliament to look into this and see if there's some sort of truthness in it?
Well, I think that it has to do with what happened in the 7th Parliament, and I guess that is where the suspicion and others are coming from. Frankly speaking, Honorable Ahemfo is one very outstanding, person, very honest, very sincere. I have dealt with him. I came to Parliament with him in the CIF Parliament, and I know his credibility. And he doesn't joke with the credibility. I was supposed to be vetted today, but he told me last night, I said, look, Mutala, our integrity and credibility is very important. So, and I said, I understand. My people came, and what do? It adds up some pressure. But I think it is important, and for me, that some of these issues are dealt with in a manner it was dealt with. And he apologized for me. That should be the end of the story.
If that's the end of the story or not. But then again, Parliament was scheduled to nominate, in fact, to vet some nominees, I beg your pardon. And as a result of this, they had to reschedule. Well, tomorrow, a number of persons are expected to appear before this Appointments Committee of Parliament. Some interesting names, some anticipated to be a showdown tomorrow, all things being equal. And take a look at this. Based on the notice we got from the Appointments Committee of Parliament, these are the persons scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, that's January 30. Beg your pardon. You see, Abdul Rashid Pelpo Hassan, a member of Parliament, Minister Designate for the Labour, Jobs and Employment. And then also you have Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, MP, Minister Designate for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. That's also you have Samuel Nate George, Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram Constituency, Minister Designate for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations. These three, and in fact, for Sam George, many who are also looking forward to that vetting of Samuel Nate George, Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram Constituency, Minister Designate for the Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations Ministry. And he, for many who know this industry, say that he is lynched through the job and risen through the ranks. He knows his stuff, just like many of them who are appearing before the committee, and we'll see how things play out for him. He's not alone in this. In fact, you see as well, the other person anticipated to appear before the committee, and it's going to be one that many have predicted will be a long vetting, probably some say 3-4 days, 5 days maybe. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the North Tongue Member of Parliament. According to the schedule from Parliament, he's supposed to be vetted tomorrow, January 30. Well, the Minister Designate for Foreign Affairs. Now, there's no regional integration attached to it. It is the Foreign Affairs Ministry. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, per the schedule as communicated to us by the Appointments Committee, is expected to appear before the committee tomorrow. Is this going to happen? We'll wait for it to see. Kofi Edi Adams, Member of Parliament for the Boem constituency and Minister Designate for the Sports and Recreation Ministry. It's a ministry that has also been redesigned, if you want to term it that way, by President John Dramani Mahama. Well, and there are many as well who are looking forward to him answering a myriad of questions about the problems that the sports sector in this country finds itself as we speak. His vetting is also expected to be a very interesting one. And Joseph Bukari Nikpe is Minister Designate for the Transport Ministry as well. So, in fact, there are 8 people, according to the schedule, who are expected as ministers' nominees, who are expected to appear before the Appointments Committee of Parliament tomorrow. And Isifu Seidu, Minister Designate for the Minister of State, Climate Change and Sustainability, and Charity Gardner, the Ahafo Region Minister Designate. These are 2 persons as well. Now, these make up the 8 that, all things being equal, would be vetted tomorrow by the Appointments Committee. But guess what? You're not alone if you think that, well, all 8 may not be vetted, because the Appointments Committee, from what we're hearing, would start sitting from 8 a.m. tomorrow, 8 a.m., all things being equal. So stay with us here on TV3 and across all media journal platforms. We'll bring you the live coverage of the Appointments Committee sittings, 8 a.m. sharp tomorrow. And they have scheduled 8 nominees to be vetted tomorrow, including Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa and Samuel Nate George, the 2 Samuels. We will see how things play out tomorrow, if indeed all 8 will be vetted. But that's all going to play out here on TV3 and on 3FM, Onia FM, Onia TV, Akuma FM, Connect FM, 3news.com. We have it all covered. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, we have an update on what the Electoral Commission of Ghana plans to do in respect of the Ablekuma North constituency parliamentary elections and the results collation. Our guest is a key member of the Electoral Commission, and I'm talking about the Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, Dr. Srebo Kweko. I sat with him earlier today to find out what's going to be the next step for the Electoral Commission for the Ablekuma North constituency. The last time they scheduled to continue the recollation, the police service, that's the Election Security Task Force, advised them that really the security situation is not that good. They cannot guarantee, so they should not hold that exercise. They adhered to it, they didn't go ahead. But then again, as we speak, the Ablekuma North is the only constituency that is not represented in this 9th Parliament. You recall what the MPP MPs did last Friday, demanding that the Electoral Commission should declare the Ablekuma North results, or they will not allow the business of Parliament to continue. We saw how that ended. I put that question to him, whether that demand could have been met by the Electoral Commission. This is what he had to say. Take a look.
So what is stalling the declaration of the Ablekuma North election results?
Thank you very much. You know, you are aware that at the collation center on the 7th of December, some people attacked the collation center and destroyed our pink sheets, that is the account from the return officers. So we needed to get the results in other form. So I think the NDC brought about 119 or so of the pink sheets. They were left with about 62. The MPP has also brought us the soft copies of that. So the return officer wanted the presiding officers to validate the soft copies. Now we've done the validation, we are left with about 3. But the issue is that the 3 that is left, if you put the total registered voters there, it could change the result if they are added to the second candidate. Normally, if it is said that the gap is so wide that the 3, in terms of total polling station registered voters, if you add them to the second person, it will not make any difference. You go ahead and declare. But here is the case that the difference is marginal. So if you give the total registered voters vote in that in those 3 polling stations to the second person, the person will overtake the third person. So to me that we need to go on. And the reason why we are not getting we are not yet over the 3 and the 1. One of them, the presiding officer is a lady. He said that he was attacked at the collation center when she was going to submit her documents, so she ran away. He's not comfortable appearing before, at the collation center where the 2 parties and their supporters are there, because he doesn't know what will happen after he has come to validate. So he said that she's not ready. But the return officer said that she has sent the results to him, but he's not ready to come face to face to validate. So the return will have to take a decision on that. Then the other one, the presiding officer appeared before the coalition team. He is a man. He is saying that he validates the vote for the MPP candidate and the NDC candidate, but he doesn't validate the rejected ballots. So in terms of the vote for the candidate, he thinks they are correct.
But there was a rejected ballot on the soft copy that the MPP
provided,
which was not on the original that he
No, he didn't come with the original. Right. But he is saying that what the MPP brought, it has a rejected ballot, but what he did doesn't have a rejected ballot. But he accepts that the vote for the 2 candidates are correct.
Okay, but that will still pose a challenge.
That one, I don't want to comment on that. Let's leave that to the returning officer.
To review him to the returning officer.
That is the communication between the presiding officer and the returning officer. Right. So it's left to the returning officer to take it, not me. It's left to the returning officer. Then the third one too came and said that the handwritings are his, but he can neither validate the figures nor reject them. So that one to the returning officer will have to, either he has to bring the guy again, I don't know. So we had wanted to meet again with all this information for the returners. And the last time the returners was saying that he's been there for about 6 or 7 years, frustrated. So you think that the party should go and do their own thing, you know. But I don't know whether it was an ask. I said that we have not gotten there. Because your work is done, you can't say you have done. And the returners have done well. He's very courageous. Because there are 3 people, the returners and 2 deputies. The 2 deputies are missing. So it is he alone who has been meeting and the insult and the rest. So at the point in time, I think he became too frustrated. So, but the commission will have to meet him, and if he is ready to do that, then we create a platform for him with the proper security for him to take decisions on the 3.
I see. But then, is it not concerning for the commission, for instance, that the officers, you make reference to one who said, look, I've finished my work. I'm done. So you do what you have to do. What are you doing with that person as well? Are you convincing him to come back, or he has decided to come back?
Are you talking the lady? He said that he has given you the results because he has it and he has sent it to you. So he doesn't need to be there physically to do that. So once you are the return officer, he has accounted to you through the communication between the 2 of you. So he thinks that that's okay because he doesn't want to be there for him to be assaulted. That means let's leave that one to the return officer because the return officer who has to do the collation and declare the results. I don't want to make a statement that you mean that I'm trying to influence the decision of the return officer.
That's it. But also, there's this challenge that has been raised by the MAC in some address that is straightforward. I think there is no law that allows the EC to unlate soft copies including of a sheet software, and that's what you're doing when validating even the soft copies of the clean sheets presented by the MP is illegal. There's nowhere in the law that allows you to do so. So why are you doing that?
My personal view is that it is the voter who should decide who should be their leaders. So if true and genuinely reflective on the ground, if that is the decision of the voters, then we need to validate it. Because the only thing that maybe you are trying to manipulate the figures. But if what happened actually is the true reflection of the voters. Let's go to Domi Kwabenya. Domi Kwabenya, we were left with 3 results. NDC brought 2 of them. We were left with 1. We couldn't get. Then we had a soft copy from the presiding officer. It's not even a soft copy. It was the presiding officer was saying that when he finished counting the rest, he read that he was not given the pink sheet for the parliamentary. So he used an ordinary sheet of paper and did a recording. So when she went home, he called the MPP agent. The MPP agent sent his results also on their telecard. So he read that was in line with what he has. So he used that one to record it on the training pink sheet. So the commission told me that it was not completed at the police station when he went home. So we said, in that case, let's bring the 2 agents and the presiding officer for them to come and validate whatever transpired. The MPP agent was not, he didn't say he would not come, but he was daring. But the NDC person came and submitted their telecard. On the telecard, where they would take how many people have voted and the rest, they also write the results there. So what the presiding officer wrote on the training pink sheet tallies with what the MPP man sent on his telecard. And he also tallies with what the NDC agent also gave. Because after the presiding officer and the NDC agent, they were there in person. So whatever they had collaborated with the MPP person said. And at that time, MPP was not ready to cooperate because they were not coming. So we went ahead and used the telecard and declared the results. That's what we did for them coming.
I see, but then come back to the question I was asked, whether there's a specific provision that allows you to admit there is some copies that the NPP presented 16 polling stations.
That's why I said that once they submit, we don't have the result. Once they submit, That's what we subject
You
it
also
to.
don't have copies of this.
They were also destroyed. So, but when we submit, then that's what we subject it to validation.
Right. And the validation process is what?
That's when
the
the
NDC also come in and say.
So that's so in that case, that's one. So where out of the 62, I think they agreed to some of them. I think we were left with about 3, which was contested. But we take the decision of our presiding officers to supersede any other person because they would have been sent to the field. That one, and I've explained that the 3 of them, one was not ready to come, but he said he has sent it to them. The other 2, one was saying that he validates the figures, but not the rejected ballot. The other one is saying that he cannot validate or reject. So,
would the commission ever consider the proposal of a rerun of those 3?
If we are not able to overcome or to accept the 3, or we are not able to declare the results for the 3, then the commission has no choice but to. But like I said, let's leave everything to the return officer. Whatever because we have given him the assignment. He recruited the people. He knows the people. So whatever he says, when go by it.
So, in the final one from this, what's going to be the next step for you to have the commandos? For the last time you tried, there was an advisory from the election task force that their security intelligence says you cannot do it. So, what's going to be the next step for you?
If the security people they give the assurance that now we are ready for you, the return officer receives his decision that I'm also ready to continue. Then we listen to what the return officer has to say about the 3.
Until then?
No, but you cannot do it without the return officer, and you cannot do it without the security people assuring you that they can protect.
They can secure the place for you. I'm sure you monitored what happened on Friday. Last Friday, the MPs, the NPP MPs said you should declare Black Commandant immediately.
We don't go by what people are saying. We go by the situations on the ground. If you have the facts, we go by it. If somebody is saying declare or not declare, that one is not the issue. Do you have the information? Do you have the data? Can we go ahead and declare? Because then we shouldn't lose out of the fact that once we declare the results, somebody can contest it. So you should have results that you will be able to defend when you are called before they are called to speak. So you don't just say that some people say declare, then you go ahead and declare.
So that's Dr. Sribokwek, who is the Director of Training at the Electoral Commission, answering a number of questions, including that demand by the NPP MPs last Friday that the Electoral Commission should declare the Ablekuma North constituency election results and who is the MP. He said that could have never been met by the Electoral Commission, that demand for that declaration last Friday, because they don't have the full complement of the results there. And so they couldn't have, and they wouldn't do that. We'll see how the coming days will look like on this matter, because as he has indicated, they are still waiting for some security clearance by the security task force so they know what to do next with that 3 outstanding polling stations. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has discontinued some high-profile cases effective yesterday and today, acquitting and discharging the accused persons in those cases. My colleague Dennis Baberi is going to be joining me after this quick break. We'll run through those high-profile cases, and also Justice Abdullahi is a private legal practitioner. Will be joining us for a conversation on this. Stay with us.
You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo Paint, simply super.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale. Incredible!
When you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
We have recorded tremendous success in ensuring that the vision of our founding fathers does indeed become a reality.
We welcome you to the next Africa Prosperity Dialogues and the Africa Prosperity Champions Awards, which take place in Accra, Ghana from the 30th of January to the 1st of February 2025.
I will work to foster the partnerships that transcends our borders, and I'll work collectively with you towards regional stability, economic growth, and mutual respect.
We see our role in enabling Africans to have a better future.
We indeed have what it takes. There is no dream which is too big or impossible.
On occasions like these, we give ourselves an excellent opportunity to showcase the difference we can make.
To register, visit africaprosperitynetwork.com. Africa Prosperity Dialogues 2025, delivering Africa's single markets through infrastructure. Invest, connect, integrate.
Every step of life's unpredictable journey. Every moment counts. That's why you need a partner you can always trust for solutions, so you can be rest assured. Having impacted over 200,000 lives, processed over 4.2 million claims, partnered with over 400 corporations, paid out over 836 million Ghana cedis in claims, contracted over 1,600 healthcare facilities nationwide, and pioneered several innovations like free medicine delivery, an interactive mobile app, and more. You'll be surprised what can be accomplished in 20 years. We're part of the Nationwide family. Are you? Nationwide Medical Insurance, 20 years of leading the way.
I'm going to interview Zuzum right here in my house. Hey!
Look up there. Why are you using inferior pen?
It was a mistake. I no check.
Acrobat2, I'm going to knock you out.
I know, sir.
You deserve quality.
Don't make mistakes. Stop!
You did the right thing.
When you are going to buy a paint, don't look left, don't look right. Go straight and grab the luxury acrylic paint. No be any paint, be paint.
The luxury acrylic paint.
Paint me champion.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. The government has withdrawn its interest in several high-profile criminal cases. And now this includes, as we're going to see on the screen right now, going forward, the case involving Dr. Stephen Oponi, the former CEO of COCOBOD, and Seydou Agongo, businessman and CEO of Agricult. And then also the finance minister, Dr. Cassiel Atoforsin, and businessman Richard Jakpa, as well as charges against the former second deputy governor of the central bank, Johnson Esiama, related to the collapse of UT Bank and Unibank. In fact, we've seen the Attorney General's office also dropped charges against the former NDC chair, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo. And let's go straight onto the magic wall right now. And Dennis Boberi-Wadam, Esquire, is joining me right now. Dennis, let's run through these cases that the AG says the state is not interested in pursuing again.
Well, so like you rightly mentioned, those are the cases that the AG has decided to discontinue against the said accused person. So we have the case of Cassiel Atoforsin in respect of the ambulance case, a very popular case that we followed all through. We also have the case against Dr. Johnson Esiama, former second deputy governor of Bank of Ghana. That case, now we have also been told that charges against him in particular have been dropped. Now, mind you, in his case, he was amongst 6 other people in respect of the UT Bank case. So charges in that respect have been dropped against him. in the matter of Unibank, he was also accused together with 8 other people.
Right.
But the charges against him in particular have been dropped.
Right.
So what it effectively means is that if the charges against the other people have not been dropped, the case would proceed with those people still named as accused persons.
Excluding Dr. Johnson
him.
Esiama.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Then there's also the case against the former NDC chair, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, in respect of the leak tip. Now, we're also understanding that the AG has decided to discontinue that particular matter. Alfred, you may have heard the expression that prosecution is a political decision.
Indeed.
What that effectively means is that it is the Attorney General who initiates criminal prosecutions. They decide which cases to pursue, because there are so many cases that the AG would have to make a choice as to which ones they think they can pursue for various reasons. Unfortunately, they are not under any obligation to indicate when they want to discontinue a particular case. So, I mean, it's just a right that the Attorney General's department and the Attorney General himself has in respect of such matters. There's also the case of Dr. Stephen Opuni and then businessman Seydou Agongo. That the charges against the two have also been dropped. And if you look at this case, it has traveled for a very long time with different twists and turns, all through allegations of bias. At a point, there were descriptions that it was more of persecution than prosecution. But we've come to a point where the Attorney General says that, look, we cannot proceed with this particular matter. We want to discontinue the matter. So effectively, that matter too has also been withdrawn.
It's been almost, what, 7 years now running?
Yes, 7 years. This matter started from 2018, yes, where they were charged with 27 counts in respect of some 217 million through some fertilizer procurement matters. So that is the matter they've had to deal with. I mean, so when they appeared before the court, their plea were taken, they pleaded not guilty. By the time prosecution closed its case, they filed a submission of no case. That was dismissed. It progressed. I mean, prosecution called close to 7 witnesses to testify in that particular matter. Dr. Opuni opened his case. He also declined to testify personally, but he called as many as 10 witnesses to also testify.
Interesting stuff. But you know that this case has a number of legs, is it not?
Yes.
Because of the impact it had on the closure of Heritage Bank. This Bank of Ghana, amongst the 5 reasons they cited for the closure of Heritage Bank, was the fact that the capital used to establish the bank was from a questionable source, and they linked it to Seydou Agongo's involvement in this particular case. And
precisely,
as a result,
yes,
they closed that particular bank.
Yes. So that was the crux of or some of the reasons that were given by the Bank of Ghana for revoking the licenses of the Heritage Bank. Because like you rightly indicated, there were questions as to the source of funding for the establishment of that bank. They thought that the money was tainted. In fact, in the words of the Bank of Ghana, they said the requirement is that for you to get a license, the money should come from an acceptable source. What that acceptable source is means that it should be money from a lawful source, and in that it should not be acquired through money laundering. But they suspected that that money was not clean money, just to put it loosely. Alfred, it's also important for us to also indicate that it was also in respect of this particular matter that at the point where prosecution had closed its case, the trial judge was changed. So the new judge who came to take over the case had said that he was not going to continue the trial, that he was going to start the trial de novo. What it means is that they were going to start the trial afresh, so that he could appreciate the demeanor of the witnesses and all that. It became a matter of contention that was taken to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal said that, no, you can't do that. Go back, adopt the proceedings, and continue from there. That bit of the case was also appealed to the Supreme Court. We are back at the High Court, where the second accused person, Seydou Agongo, was now defending or opening his defense. I understand he was bringing in a 9th witness. That was when this particular withdrawal notice was put before the court to say that the Attorney General is no longer interested in the case. It has a lot of legs. If you want to stay on this particular matter, I mean, there are a lot of it.
Well, and whether it's even going to even impact on that verdict by the Bank of Ghana on Heritage Bank, because then if this case then is discontinued, does it now legitimize the source of funds for the establishment of that bank, which license was withdrawn? I mean, it's an extension of the conversation we can have.
And those questions will definitely come up, especially when the court has not specifically made pronouncements as to whether as the verdict of guilt or not guilty. This is a withdrawal matter. So there will be questions as to whether the money in question will now be deemed to be lawful money, for which reason it can come back to go through the process again to see if the bank can be brought back. But those are matters that may come up in the coming days.
Well, let's bring in Justice Abdullah. He's a private legal practitioner. He's a law lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Accra Law School. Justice Abdullah, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I mean, the decision to discontinue these high-profile cases by the Attorney General surprise you, or because of the nature of this case and the path it had traveled, this discontinuation was really a matter of time and not so much of whether it was really going to happen?
Indeed, for those that are politically exposed, I did expect this outcome. I mean, Alfred, the previous administration campaigned largely on the corrupt activities of the JM administration. And all of us sang the song, believing that indeed JM's administration was the most corrupt administration at the time. And so naturally, when the Kufuor-led administration was ushered into office, the psychology was that it had to do something for us to believe that indeed the administration it took over from was a corrupt one. And ultimately, one would expect that there will be a lot of high-profile cases against the then administration. Events clearly demonstrated that we were all hoodwinked into believing that the first JM administration was indeed the most corrupt one. And unfortunately, we bought into this song, and the government, of course, are unable to find any cogent evidence to back the claims that it made against the JM administration. Naturally, how to just put everyone, it could find something. However unreasonable or unnecessary it may be, put the person to court. Indeed, I'm not surprised that some of them call their prosecution persecution and witch hunting and among other nomenclatures and phrases that they refer to their prosecution. I'm not surprised about those ones. And some of them were indeed needless. Some of the prosecutions were needless. And if you see the attempts by the Attorney General at the time at to get Atuk Forcing in particular and Japa in prison, it's lent to the suspicion that this was just to push a particular narrative. The prosecution was just to push a particular narrative, which is the narrative that we had all been made to believe that the previous JM administration was the most corrupt and what was corrupt and all of that. And so these were just to fit into those narratives. I mean, these prosecutions were to fit into those narratives. And I think that is what led to all these other stalemate in the prosecution of people. So indeed, if you ask me whether I am surprised or not, I am with the decision made by the new Attorney General. As a matter of fact, I am the least surprised. In fact, if there's anything that I'm surprised about, it is the fact that we still have Afoko in custody. Afoko I have consistently prayed for Afoko's release on every ground that you can advance in his favor. I mean, I think if within the Fourth Republican Constitution, he's the most, he has suffered the most under our criminal jurisprudence, having been in custody for almost the entire period of his persecution. This time I borrow these words. I'm continuously praying that my learned senior, Dr. Ayini, would take a second look at the Afokos case and possibly enter a nolle prosequi in favor of that gentleman, just as he has done for these decent men and women of our country.
Right.
I think.
Right, and you talk about Gregory Afoko for that matter. And, well, we'll see how the coming days will look like on this. But I thank you very much. The next leg of this conversation is how all of this impacts on the judiciary going forward. But thank you. Justice Abdullahi is going to be with us tomorrow as well. He's a lecturer at the UPSA Law School, private legal practitioner. Then as well, we round up very quickly on this Dr. Kasiela, 2 force in 1.
Yes. So that case now is off the table. We do know that.
Right.
I mean, as at the time prosecution closed its case in June 2023, the accused persons had filed a submission of no case. That's to say that prima facie case had not been established against them. That was dismissed. So they took that and appealed at the Court of Appeal. It was that appeal which saw the reversal of the High Court's decision, which effectively meant that they were discharged and acquitted.
Right.
Prosecution was dissatisfied with that particular decision by the Court of Appeal, so they further appealed to the Supreme Court. So in respect of Kessler to Forsen and Richard Japa, this case was pending before the Court of Appeal because of the nature of the case. Now we're also being told that that case has also been withdrawn. So we are back to default setting to say that the Court of Appeal decision, which acquitted and discharged them, is what holds now.
Has been upheld. So all of this had the leak tape and everything in there.
Yes, and the many things.
But in effect, the state loses, right, with this over 2 million euros gone.
We'll see how that pans out.
Thank you very much. And Dennis Poberi-Wadam is my colleague here, and also the producer here on Ghana Tonight. It's a private legal practitioner. And on behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. My name is Alfred Okanse. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.